Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Joanna and today's video was inspired by a midnight text from my dear friend Kate, who has very many questions about makeup. So I thought that I would film a beginner's guide to makeup video today for those of you who may be just starting out with makeup and may have some questions. So Kate has actually sent me about a good 10 to 15 questions that I'm going to try to answer today. I have my laptop with me here, so let's just get into the video. So the first thing that I'm going to start out with is the eyes. Found a few Real Techniques brush sets that could be equivalent to the Nicole Concealer one. So the first one that I'm going to mention is the one that's just for the eyes, and it is the Real Techniques, it's just called the Starter Kit. It has 5 different brushes, and so I'm going to start with brushes from left to right. The first one is the Deluxe Crease Brush, and that is basically just for defining the crease, and it's basically like a contour for your eye just to make it kind of stick out just a little bit more. The next brush is the Base Shadow Brush, which is the brush that you want to start out with when you're putting on your makeup. This is to apply the most neutral shade on your eyes, just to make just basically as a base for your eyeshadow of what to start out with. The next one is going to be the Accent Brush, and that is basically designed for highlighting the brow bone and the inner eye and along the under eye. I don't generally do this just because I don't feel like it looks good with my eye shape, so it's kind of more of an experiment to see what looks good with your eyes and what doesn't go very good with your eyes. The next one over is the Fine Line Brush. This one is for eyeliner. If you have a pot eyeliner or a liquid eyeliner that you don't want to use the applicator for and you find this one works better for you, you could use that one. The last brush in this set is called the Brow Brush. This is for filling in your brows. I'm personally, for me, when I do my eyebrows, I like to fill them in with a brush and eyeshadow. I don't use any type of brow pencil or brow gel or anything like that. Yeah, so I just use a shade from my eyeshadow palette that works perfectly for me. And then for a basic face makeup, you can buy the Real Techniques Core Collection. So starting from left to right, I'll kind of explain those as well. So the one on the far left is the contour brush. And basically I'll explain contour a little bit more later, but it's basically just for a more soft contour. The next one over is the foundation brush, which just gives a nice finish to your foundation. I personally like to use a kabuki brush when I'm blending my foundation out, just to give it a more blended look. But I did use this brush a while ago to do my foundation, and it worked just as well. So the next one over is the detailer brush. People will use this for concealer. I just put my concealer on my problem spots and then blend it out with a beauty blender. I don't really ever use a concealer brush, but it does come in this set, so you might as well use it for something. You can use it for a nose contour. And then the last brush is in this set is the buffing brush, which is for powder and mineral foundation. I mean, I feel like it's kind of self-explanatory, just all over the face to do your powder. And then if you do decide to do a highlighter, when I first started out, I would just use my fingers just to kind of dab it and blend it in. Now I use the fan brush from the Nicole Concealer collection, and that is my personal favorite. So moving on to mascara. In the marketing world, they try to market you with different types of mascaras. There is the volumizing mascara, the lengthening mascara, the separating mascara, so many different types of mascara that you can definitely get lost. In Tarte's most recent PR package, they included a list of in which they compared brows to mascaras, and I thought that was great. Personally, for me, I always go for a volumizing mascara. My favorite, all-time favorite one that I always end up going back to buy is this, the Colossal Volume Express by Maybelline. It smells amazing. It smells like honey, in my opinion. And I just keep going back to it. Every time I go back to the store to buy a mascara, that's the one that I always go back to just because it's been my favorite. My friends use it. I think it's great. Really, any mascara from Maybelline will do the trick. You don't need to go out and buy the high-end mascaras. I feel like drugstore mascaras work just as well. To go along with the starter eye kit from Real Techniques, you would probably need some eyeshadow to go on it. So my favorite starter eyeshadow kit, I actually got it when I was first starting out with makeup. It's quite old and I have it here with me, is this Barely There palette from Icing. Icing is kind of like Claire's for older people, but as you can see, it is definitely well loved and very much used, just because I used it so much, because it's a great starter kit for eyeshadow. If you don't have a Icing at your mall or anything like that, any of the eyeshadow palettes from the drugstore are generally good. The key to eyeshadow is to start out with a great primer. Moving on to highlighters, ColourPop has amazing highlighters for cheap. I think they're $6. Actually, let me look it up real quick. Their highlighters are $8. I feel like that's pretty decent for a highlighter, considering the one that I got from MAC was $32. ColourPop is a really good drugstore brand of. So yes, for highlighters, any of the ColourPop ones are great to start out with. One of the questions that Kate sent me was worded a specific way. She asked, does concealer go on before foundation or after? Or if you put on foundation, do you still need to put on concealer? For me, I put on my foundation first and then put on my concealer. I basically use the concealer to conceal whatever blemishes the foundation did not cover. If you put on foundation, you don't need concealer necessarily unless you feel like your under eye bags are too prominent or any of your blemishes just need to go away. A tip would be to, after you put on your concealer, make sure that you do set it with a, like even with your powder or something like that, just go over it again with your powder just to make sure that it doesn't get splotchy or that it doesn't disappear throughout the day. For contour, when you're starting out with contour, you should probably start very natural, because people will definitely notice that you've started to contour and that your face looks just a little bit slimmer. You want to start out natural for sure. I started out with this Benefit Hoola bronzer. This is a great one, even a great size. I got this one about a year ago, and it's the mini one, and you can get it for $15 in the travel section at Sephora. I've had this for a year and I still have a lot left. Yes, there is a big hole in there, but at the same time I still do have a lot of product left. It will last you for a very long time. When you begin with your bronzer or your contour, whatever you want to call it, the best way to do it would be the Kim K3, which, let's see, I'm trying to think which side do I need to do it on. But it's basically along the hairline, right in here, which it's basically in between your teeth, all the way up to where your ear starts, right here, to this part of your ear. And you would go back down and then underneath the chin just a little bit so that it does make a 3. That's the best way. That when I first started out with contouring, that's how I learned it, was just to do the 3, and so I've just done that ever since. When you're starting out, there's no need to worry about the sharpness of it or baking or anything. I still don't bake, and that's basically, baking is just to make it more sharp. You don't need to do that when you're first starting out. Just make it look natural and make it look as best as you can. And my tip for that also would be to use a more fluffier brush, like maybe a small brush but a fluffy brush, not one of those kind of more oval shaped brushes. Just use a fluffy brush and kind of blend it in all over your face. For pore strips, I've never really used them before, So I couldn't really tell you what they do necessarily. I know they do definitely clear your pores. I do want to try the Hell Pore Mask. I think that would be really fun. Maybe I'll do it as a YouTube video. So like this video if you want me to do a Hell Pore Mask on camera, because I will do it because I wanted to try. So that is all the questions that I have for you guys today. If you have any more, please leave them in the comments below and I'll try to answer them to the best of my makeup capabilities. And please subscribe and like this video, and I will see you next week for another video.